here, I want to say something in the beginning that uh, maybe most of you had already taken the first class that I was saying about like what is not robotics, and like it was a
Mhm.
bit metaphorical that it actually introduced everyone with what actual robotics looks like. And so this is the second part of that like series. And this second part starts with like how we can be part of this billion-dollar industry.
Mhm.
And to talk about this whole all the ways that we can be part of this robotics. So I have created this lecture so that I can like introduce you guys to all the pathways that we can take to be part of robotics industry. So here again, a little introduction about me that I have been working almost like 10 years in this robotics industry. And right now I'm CEO of a design company which designs robots and delivers robots at different countries in Australia, in also US. And this is our short team of like 10 engineers we are, and we have delivered this kind of robotic solutions over the last 3 to 4 years. And this is kind of like the recap of the previous class. So I'll briefly go through it because without this, it will be tough to catch up what will happen today. So here, the first thing is that it was like the main message of the last class was that robotics is not easy. And everybody has at least got this message that there is a lot of things that has to be taken care of if we want to build a robot that actually functions and solves our problem. And another thing that we wanted to talk about that day was like we showed you the gap between academia versus industry, and the how the academia doesn't prepare a student that much in the way that they need to be prepared when they comes into an industry. And that's why there is a huge uh, like I would say that a gap in the robotics industry itself. So a lot of people are pursuing AI careers or software engineering careers as opposed to robotics careers. But it's very important that there will be a lot of robotics development in the future. But we are not seeing that many engineers coming into this scene because it's mainly for the difficult nature of the robotics engineering. And another thing that we were talking about the what's the robotic market will look like in the next 10 years. So here there are some like predictions by some like big names. Like one is Jensen Hua, who is the CEO of Nvidia. Right now, their company is the most net worth having company, that their company has almost like 3,000. That means almost like $1 trillion industry they have built. So we know they're in the hardware like GPUs has been used widely throughout different countries. Like who those who have at least uh, used an NVIDIA GPU, or at least I would say that those who has like been in the gaming industry or like played any computer games knows this company really well. And he has said that within the next 10 years, there will be at least 1 billion robots together with human beings. Like there's 7 billion human beings and there will be another 1 billion robots. Right now, we are not seeing something near to that. So there will be a really drastic change in the next 10 years with the prediction. And why it's possible right now is, I would say that mainly because previously the main gap was the software and AI. And now that is solved, and they are now helping us to build robots that was not imagined before. So that's why the industry is growing. And it's been predicted that in the next 10 years, the industry itself will grow at least 5 times from $65 billion industry to 350 billion industry. So that's why, like, I want to pull this information because what is the main motivation behind becoming a part of this industry? Why should we actually become a part of this industry? When, like, to think about it, we need to know that if there is any demand that will be there in the future or not. So that's very important. Anything should be measured in like supply and demand, that kind of economical thinking. If a person doesn't do that and becomes involved in any industry, will later suffer, because if that industry closes down within maybe next 2 3 years, then that skill or that kind of investment will be total loss. So we should know before entering into any industry that what is the like main motivator. Like we should know that what is the demand of that industry. Will it increase or decrease? So this is kind of like the flashback from the last class. So in this class, now the class will be divided into four sections. Like the first one is that we'll talk about what is robot dealership looks like, and what is robotic integrators look like, and what is robotic startups look like, and what are engineers or technicians that track look like. Okay. So a brief introduction about every business I'll give in here, so that when you go in the next slide, you can follow through that what I'm talking about. So dealership means simply that I buy a robot from a robot manufacturer, then I sell it to either a retailer that who owns a showroom, or directly ship that robot to the end user, maybe sell them through my website or something. So those are basically robot dealership. They never make their own robot. They are searching for robots that are already available, and they're going to the customer trying to solve their problem. And robotic integrator are a little different than the dealership, because dealerships are like they only buy one product, and integrators buy several products to bring a whole solution to like a customer. Like if you have a big problem that let's say your one process is totally manual, a packaging of a good is totally manual, so they will build a system where they will integrate a lot of robotic solution and mechanical solution, and they will devise a really big solution to meet that uh, like problem. Like they will find the cause, and they will find that how we can make it more efficient, and then they will try to build that solution from there. But it's completely different than dealership. So that's also one of the ways we can like build a company of a robotics. And the main difference between these two things and making your own robot is that these first two things doesn't involve with like you don't have to make your own robots. You can just buy it from a robot manufacturer. But the third one, what we'll be talking about, that robotic startups are building their own robots. They will they will work their way through a lot of hardship and grinding, and they will like find a problem first, and they will bring a solution, and that solution is a robotic product. And the fourth one is, so okay, number one, two, and three, all of these are like creating your own businesses. And in these businesses, all your engineers and technicians, those track is number four, like how to become an engineer, either a robotics engineer or a mechanical engineer, or maybe an electrical engineer, or a technician who can like help you in that robotic startups or the other companies. So that being said, let's start that what you actually need to like start your dealership business. So this is the most easiest way to do business with robots. That means you still become part of robotics, you earn a significant amount of money, but you don't need that much robotics knowledge. So all the complexities of robotics, you don't have to like know a lot of details like a robotics engineer. But if you only know that, okay, this robot I will buy from them and I need to sell it to them, and you need to know that yes, there is a customer demand over here, so I can, if I buy some robots, I can sell it over here. That's enough. But to buy them, you need a working capital, because you cannot buy a robot with empty hands. So you need some cash at your hands. So a dealership business, just like any dealership business, like if you are talking about car dealership, you will need a capital to buy a car and then again selling it, reselling it. And also another challenge is that shipping the product. Let's say you want to sell a product in Africa, but the product is actually manufactured in China. So you need to find your way to ship that in a price that is enough for you to also resell that thing and make a huge margin so that you can keep a profit. So these are the minimum requirement of a dealership business. Okay. So I hope this is a bit clear to you guys. So I will also state the steps involved in business, this kind of like anybody who is interested in this kind of business, a robot dealership business, they can, how the steps will look like that they need to select a niche first. That means they need to select a product. Let's say here I gave an example of a vacuum cleaning robot. So let's say I feel like my area, the people here has a huge problem in hiring a maid who will clean my house. And that's not only my problem, it's most of the people's problem. So in order to solve them, what I do that I maybe buy or maybe I do some kind of marketing, like very clever marketing to understand if this thing will be actually someone is interested to buy or not. That means I post a picture in a, let's say, a social media and want to see that if this product was this much money, would you buy this or would you still hire your maids, or would you do your work on your own? Then if there is a really big demand and if you can see that, oh, the market has at least this much customers who are willing to buy it, then that's your opportunity right there. Then if you have that capital, you can buy a good, uh, let's say a good uh, vacuum cleaning robot and get the distribution rights from the company. So that's the point number two. So without the distribution right, you cannot do the dealership because that will be like framed as a different way. So that's why after getting that, you also need to form a legal entity. That means you need a trade license in your country to do a business. And also you need to secure the funding. And also there should be an inventory where you'll keep the products. It can be your house if it is a very small business. If you have only like 10 robots you shipped in and you are want to sing, it can be your own house. Like to start a business, you don't need a really big warehouse for the inventory. And the last two steps are like you need to also develop technical expertise to troubleshoot the problems that the end user face. It's not to make the robot, but let's say the robot runs into a problem and then the customer comes back to me, then what? I need to answer them. Or I cannot say that, okay, I just know how to sell, but I don't know anything about the robot. So that will not work in that way because it involves in also giving a service about maintaining and repairing the product. So that kind of technical expertise should be there. Or at least you need to keep someone in your team who knows a little bit about robotics. And then also there is another side of building a business. You need to do enough marketing to create a demand and also in order to sell. So these are kind of like the steps for a robot dealership business. I just went through this so that someone who is not willing to spend too many hours into learning what robotics is, but wants to be involved uh, in this industry, that's their shortest way to get involved. But remember that you need a really high working capital because you have to buy a robot and sell the robot. So in order to do that, you need a money. So that's a very important uh, thing to be noted. Okay, so dealership can be two types. Okay, so the first type is wholesale and the next type is retail. Like these two terms are very common in today's business. So wholesale is usually B2B. That means they are selling one from one business to another business. So they are not selling it to the end user or the customer. But in retail, there is like a showroom, we sell it to directly to the customer. So that's retail is a business model that involves selling products directly to the customer. But wholesale is something that you buy from a business. Like let's say a robot manufacturer gives you 100 drones, and then those drones you are not directly selling to everyone. You are giving it to a retailer. You are saying that, okay, you have a showroom, so you sell it. So I just want to quickly dislodge my 100 drones to you guys. Okay. So that's a two types of dealership that's possible. Okay. And the second the robotic integrator, that business, I will just quickly explain, and the picture is there to quickly explain it to you guys. So the picture on the right is kind of like a solution for a robotic integrator. So here they devised a machine for a company so who needed help in packaging some kind of materials. So they didn't only buy the robot, which you can see below that small image. So that robot, can you do you guys notice that that same robot is used on the top of that machine? Take some time to note that. So that small robot, the robot arm, actually is manufactured by a manufacturer. But the manufacturer doesn't make this kind of system. They only makes the robot. So integrators buy the robot from them and then they design a whole system according to the user need. So it's not like something has to be made first, then I find my customer and sell it. It's not like that. My customer comes to me and says that, see, I have this specific problem. I want to package my good in this way. So how can I do it? Then they've ideate a solution. They've comes up with a common ground that, okay, this kind of solution, will it work for you? Then if they are okay with it, then they start building this whole thing. So that's the big difference, that if someone wants to be only the dealer, they will only sell this robot. And the robotics integrator cannot do that. They need to set up the whole machine where that robot is a very small part. So that's the main difference with the robotic dealership and the robotic integrator business. I hope it's more clear. So here I wrote some uh, like advantage, you can say, or some points to be noted. So obviously, when we talk about robot integrator business, it's like if you say revenue wise, the revenue is more than the dealership business, because the dealership business is very easy. You just buy a robot and sell it. But here you need to do a lot of technical stuffs, and like for that you have to charge more to like have a good business. And also the setup has to be according to their needs. It's not like what you can make. Like if they are not happy with the product, they will not like buy it. So we have to understand the customer requirements very nicely. We have to follow them very closely, and then we have to build the whole machine according to that thing in mind. And here the robotics integrator needs a really good amount of technical understanding to run this business, because here in order to make this, there is a lot of engineering involved, but more engineering is involved in making a robot product. That means the arm that you can see over here, the robot arm, that took like way more engineering. Only that robot arm. It might be small in this whole picture, but that took more engineering. So because a robot arm has to be really precise, it has to be working really repeatedly at the same precision level every time for 1,000 times or million times. So that precision has been engineered with a lot of hours has to be spent from a lot of different engineers to make that product. But this integration, that whole machine you see, that maybe took only 3 months to 6 months time. Whereas that only that robot took maybe 2 to 5 years to make it to that level. Okay, so let's move on to a few other examples of integration, like where they can be used. Let's say in a car industry, like when they're like integrating okay, so like in a car industry, you guys can understand there is a lot of assembly lines where usually back in the days, people were used, people workers, but right now they have replaced a lot of people with robots. And in a way, robots are more safer to use, and they can do a lot of heavy stuffs, which those people doesn't need to do anymore. So that also brings a question that then what happens, like people loses their job. Yeah, people will lose some jobs. That doesn't mean that there is no other jobs to do. There will be other jobs uh, when some jobs are taken care of by machine, people will always do something else to survive. So here we are not here to discuss that end of it. I'm just saying that where this robot can be integrated. So here, these robot arms are bought from somewhere else, but they integrated in a whole factory. So this is also an example of robot integration. I hope the examples are pretty straightforward to follow. So the next part that we'll be talking about is a robotic startup. So this is the main theme of today, like someone with an entrepreneurship mindset, someone who wants to make something or like wants to build something. It's for those kind of people that they like, for them, it's very good opportunity if they make a startup of their own. So what a startup is that? Like the startup can be either a product-based startup or a service-based startup. Let's say we use our mobile phone. So the cell phone is a product, but in that cell phone, there are a lot of softwares. So most of the softwares which we uh, like subscribe, let's say like Netflix or like other like let's say there are some softwares in apps which needs a monthly based subscription. So those are service based model. So that's a service-based startup. And if we are building a product, then that will be called a product-based startup. So the main difference in that part. But in robotics, what we mean is that if a robot is manufactured by someone, then that's a product-based startup. And if it's a service, like integration is a service itself. If someone is giving a different kind of service, that will be a service-based startup. But here we want to mainly talk about the product-based startup. So how to start a startup on our own. Okay, so this is a very yeah, okay. So this one is a really common way, but it's not like it's every time the same thing is happening. There will be some iterations, there will be some changes, but pretty much it sketches up what a startup, like how to start a startup will look like. Okay, so entrepreneur should actually live in the future ahead of your time. That means he needs to think about things which are not like available today. He needs to find a solution. Maybe it's not right now solved in the world. So he needs to find what's missing in the world, basically that. And then he will write it down, or he will like model that idea in somewhere, and he will try to make a prototype on his own. And then after showing that prototype to 100 people or 10 people, if these people believes with this idea, yeah, whatever you're making looks amazing. Maybe if that was a product, we would have bought that. Then only an entrepreneur starts to go to that next step. Or this is an continuous iteration process until he finds something that solves some problem. So in robotics, like if you are finding a solution, okay, for a problem, let's say like you don't want to cook, so you want to find a robot, or you want to build a robotics, some kind of machine that cooks for you. So the problem is that you don't want to cook, and cooking is very hard. So the solution can be a robotic prototype. So that's one way of solving it. Another way of solving it, make an app like Uber Eats or something like that. Like it delivers food to your house. So alternative way which can bring food to you, if that is solved by a robot, then that's a robotic startup. So here, first, whatever that like solution is needs a prototype. So what a prototype looks like is, it doesn't have to be the final product. It can be a mock-up version. Okay, so here I kept a small robot demonstration. Okay, just a second.
But reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, you are with Atlantic International University, and at this time we have Professor Muhammad Al Faisal Shiraj demonstrating to us the importance of being part of robotics.
Okay, so this is a prototype for a machine. So this is not the final machine. So I'm developing a prototype for this kind of like a fixed arm. So like this prototype, we are doing it with 3D printing. We have a lot of different versions of it in our office. And so this prototype is not the final product, but what it's serving is that slowly and slowly it's developing and becoming the thing that actually we want to make. So this kind of prototyping, if I show you a bunch of other things that like we have created this so that the product in the final product, we have more accuracy, more reliability, and we get what we actually are looking for. But it will not come in the first attempt. So there has to be like 100 attempts, or not every time 100, sometimes less than that, sometimes more than that. But that iterative process is what makes the product refined and more applicable, or like more subjected towards the customer end. So here, after making the prototype, we obviously cannot say for ourselves, okay, my prototype looks really well. Now I can sell it to everyone. No, it doesn't work in that way. My product or my prototype can be really good to me, but it doesn't mean that people will like it. So, in only way to know that, we have to go to the people. We have to show it to the people. We have to say that use it, or maybe see it, or maybe try to do something with it. But how is the prototype? Give some feedback. After getting enough feedback, we can be sure that okay, maybe this is something to go forward with. Then launch, let everyone know that you have made something. That means now your startup, like you have like publicly announced that this is my startup, we have made something. Now we are trying to look for funding so that we can improve it further. And then we are trying to also get some co-founders, like the people like together with me, the other people who will work on this product. So initially, this kind of startup doesn't need that like money to hire people. So what they will do is they will share some equity. So that's how it works in startups. Like in a dealership business, if you want to hire a salesman, you need to give him a monthly salary. That's like there is no other way of doing it. But if you want to make a startup, because the startups, the end goal is to earn like millions and billions of dollars. So that's why people like who wants to be part of a startup, they knows that what that percentage looks like and what that percentage will look like in after 5 to 10 years. So that's why they believe in it with that founder, and they become a C corp, and they need to register that and split that equity. And that has to be in like pen and papers, because without that, people can run into a lot of issues. Like if someone has seen the movie of the Facebook founder, so there was some kind of problems they ran into, like when it was not actually in the pen and paper. So they had split it in a some way, but like later they refuse that. So that's likely going to be a problem. So it's very important. If I make a startup and if it's something that there is a split between 2 or 3 people, we need to register that. We need to register that and know the government that that's how the split is, and that's our startup. And then, yeah, after doing that, we can find more co-founders and also iterate the prototype until it makes sense. And this time we need to get more user feedback. So previously, if it was 100 user feedback, now we'll try to have more 1,000 user feedback. If previously it was like, let's say 10 user feedback, now at least we need to find 100 user feedback. So that's how it works. Like some product needs less feedback, some products need a lot of feedback. Depends on like if the product will be used by a lot of people. Let's say it's a very small soap, and soap is having a really lower price tag. So soap, in order to get a huge amount of profit from soap, we need to at least sell, um, let's say, like millions or of pieces, right? So for that kind of product, we need also a lot of user feedback. So it works in that way. But for a robot, like one robot will be a lot of more than $1,000. So for that, maybe a less amount of feedback is enough. But still, there has to be a prototype. There has to be some kind of feedback that we are getting from some engineers or from some end users. Like when they see that product, how it feels, when they see that performing, how they feels it. Like, do they feel that the product is doing well, or normal human activity or human action would be better? So we need to understand what they feels like. Once we get enough feedback, once we register them and we implement them in our like prototype until it makes sense, we'll just iterate it. That process is like it might feel like endless process, but yes, it stops when we get enough feedback, enough positive feedback, and then we look for funding. So the startup, how it grows is usually it needs to secure a little bit like series of funding. So there is like a pre-seed funding. Sometimes people need seed level funding. Sometimes people need series A funding, series B funding. These fundings are required to improve the product until we can scale it and we can sell it to a lot of people. So that's how the whole journey looks like. So I'll show you some examples of the startup. Now the boring part is over, guys. These are some cool images you can cherish. So these are some startups that are doing really well, and you can see I I gave a tag of their valuation, company valuation. So here some startups already reached more than $1 billion valuation. Some startups are still in the $1 million range of valuation. So that's how like their equity like is valued. Like if someone gets 10% equity from this company or 20% from this company, he is already a billionaire. So that means you can already see if someone takes 10 to 5 to 10 years to build this company, and if he has 20% equity of his company, that means he's already a billionaire if he owns a company like that. So that means the differences that I want to show here is that making your own startup is the most difficult pathway, but it's also the most rewarding pathway. And here there are some examples that I've shown in this like slide. The first one, you can see this Roborock is a robot vacuum cleaner. So this is usually, that it's for the cleaning the floors of our normal indoor settings. And this Anybotics robot dog is is a different kind of robot. We usually call it quadruped robot. So this was invented, and now this is sold into factories where they want to surveillance and monitor the what's happening inside the whole factory. If there is some damage in some parts, if it needs maintenance, they automatically reports it to the people concerned with doing the whole repair and maintenance stuff. So that is also another really cool level robot. So this robot, I personally have been following this for a long time. So their Shefi is like a cooking, or I would say like this whole system cooks your food. So you can be on your office, and in your app you can just say to this communicate with this machine that I want this and this prepared by the next 1 hour. You come back to your house and you find the meals are already prepared. So this is a really cool robot. And yeah, there is some challenges of maintaining the whole uh, like the cooking ingredients inside them. They have different version. One version is having like a refrigerated section for them. So this is also a really cool robotic solution that these kind of solutions will be really demandable in the future, because in US you guys can already understand a lot of people are facing issues in doing this kind of chores because they're more focused in like husband and wife both are like having a job. It's very hard to come back and then do all these kind of stuffs. So these kind of solutions are more like uh, demandable in the future. The figure this robot has reached a really big valuation, but what they are saying is that these kind of robots will be used instead of housemaids. And yeah, it's performing really well. Like I would say that the development is progressing really well. Within 1 or 2 years, they will be able to sell it to the US. They're taking pre-orders right now, but you can see the valuation. It's like mind-blowing. Like it's 39 billion USD, and they haven't like they were here maybe for the last 3 to 4 years, not that long. So within this small time, they have built a really big company. And even if someone becomes a dealership, let's say don't have to build this robot. If someone becomes a dealership owner of this, they needs to get the permission of distribution and they need to buy this robot and sell it to your own local areas if the demand is there. Then even then you can make a really great amount of profit. So here, these few names are like my own research because I didn't research it and put it over there. I know them, so I just put it over there. Like I didn't have to do any research for this. And this Orangewood Lab, they also have a really hard, like a really I would say a drastic story over there that they came to YC from India and then they had a lot of ups and downs and finally they made this product. Uh, Initially, their startup like founder was making a truck, but you can see from a truck to a robot is a really big transition over there. So so that's why I followed their story and followed the story of the founder. Like they had a really uh, like really harsh like a background and a setting that they were in, and then still making this product and coming to a valuation of 35 million. I would say that that's really great job out there. So these all are kind of like the examples of the startups. So right now I'll put a little bit comparison of these all way different ways of building the products and integrating the robots or dealing with the robots like a dealership business. So here you can see, I will show you two, three rows first. So you can see the annual revenue is way higher in the robotics startup. So the annual revenue can be low at the beginning and later on it will grow like significantly. So that's why the success takes a really huge amount of time, but okay, the risk level is also higher in the robotic startup. You can see the risk is 9 out of 10. The robotics integrator is like 6 out of 10, and the dealership is like 4 out of 10. The profitability time, you can see that to reach a profitability, you will need at least 3 to 7 years for a robotic startup. But the reward is really high, like almost more than 50 million, almost on average, every startup is making. And robotics integrator and the dealerships is quite low, but it takes a really less amount of time to become profitable, like 1 to 3 years for robotics integrator, and dealership is half years to 1.5 years time. And initial capital is also a very important thing, and the full-time engineers that will be required. So in dealership, you don't need actually any engineers unless there is a lot of robots that you're selling. And then people come back with a damaged robot and you have to repair that. So only that time you'll need some engineers. Robotic integrators, they will need a few engineers to make that whole design and then set up that whole uh, like integrated machine into their system. So they will need a significant amount of engineers. And in startup, they will need more than like 50 engineers. And that's why the companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, they are having like thousands of engineers because they were actually once a startup and they are significantly building their products day by day. They're just improving it. So whatever we are using right now, Zoom, that is also a product. So that's also Zoom also is like a startup who made this video conferencing platform. So any software we are using today, mostly either it's a subscription-based model or a permanently bought model. So either it's like a service based, like we call it SaaS like software as a service, those kind of startup. So you guys can already understand the differences between these three businesses. Now, most importantly, what I will say that a person need is an entrepreneurship mindset. Like if you want to build a business, you need to know that you have to own the whole business, you have to operate it, and you have to take the risks. You have to be determined in the idea that you want to follow. You cannot be like, okay, I want to do this, and again in the next day, no, I want to do this. You cannot be changing paths every day. You have to be determined, unless you see that that has failed. So you have to first, like I have one inventor working with me for the last 3 years. I respect him really, like His name is Tyler Hinton, and he haven't seen the success yet, but still for the last 3 to 4 years, he has not like left the hope that this product will not be something. So that's how determined he is. So that actually is a entrepreneurship mindset. And patience is the key, that you have to be patient at a lot of times. Not only if the product is not going in the right direction, also maybe the team is not listening to you, also maybe the customer or the investor are not investing. We have to be patient until the right time comes. So there is a lot of test of patience taken uh, on an entrepreneur. And choose a product closely to the aptitude or expertise. That means if I don't have any previous knowledge of that product, just like I told you that there was a cooking robotic machine, right? So the entrepreneur was a cook himself. So that's very important. Like if you have a cooking knowledge and when you're building a machine that cooks, that is very important. So let's say some of you are maybe better at some field. Maybe someone is good at playing football. So he's making a machine that maybe is training a footballer. So he needs to know that what's happening in that football industry. Or if someone is doing some kind of makeup artist, that kind of thing, so he will be able to make a robot in the makeup industry. So that knowledge is very important also. So choose a product really close to the expertise that you already have. Don't try to choose a product that's really far from all the expertise that you have. So it's very important. Self-discipline and consistency is also needed, because if I am my own owner, like I have to be disciplined by myself. Just like I run my own company, that like there is no other system that can make me come at that same time. But if I am not self-disciplined, then the company will go down. So there that has to be really important. So these things are like very important for that mindset that we are talking about. So last is the ability to lead a group of smart people. So being a leader is I think is the most important, or the most like, important mindset, I would say. Like I have to leave the mindset of an employee, but I have to keep a mindset of a leader, that I have to lead a lot of people. I have to be an example for them. That has to be there, present in that entrepreneurship's mindset. So this is a very important thing. And also, I'll roughly just pass this thing, because I today main focus was that how you can be part of this robotic industry as a businessman, and very less onto the becoming an engineer. But that's how an engineering actually career looks like if someone wants to be a robotics engineer. So there will be a separate class for building this own startup versus becoming an engineer or robotics engineer. We'll take some separate classes for that. But in this class, uh, like I want to mainly focus on that how the businesses are working. And in these businesses, there has to be a lot of robotics engineers. So usually you do a bachelor's degree and all the requirements required to do start a bachelor's degree, and sometimes master's or PhD, or sometimes those are not necessary. You have that if you have the technical skills of a robotics engineer, then you can move like slowly up the ladder from junior engineer to mid-level engineer and to a senior engineer. So that's how the engineering journey like looks like roughly. I would not say I have like gone through it. Okay. So these are other roles and their respective salaries in the industries. Like there are separate roles like robotic software engineers who are only concerned with the software part of the robot. There are embedded engineers. So this embedded engineer means like electrical engineers. So these embedded and robotic software engineers are highly compensated. So if someone is looking to pursue a career in robotics, these two are very ideal for them. Or maybe someone knows a younger person who are maybe planning their career as a robotics. So I would say the more more lucrative roles are robotic software engineer and embedded engineer. And below them are like some kind of mechatronics engineering and mechanical engineering, or even sales engineering is also some. a good way to like earn, because sales engineer is important for dealership business and also for like service-based startup needs some way of generating sales so that people come to us and get some kind of solutions. And there will be always some admin and operation roles open for any kind of companies. So even robotics companies will need those roles to be filled in. So today's class, I want to actually take a live small quiz today. And that's why I kept 10 minutes so that we guys can do it. So this quiz will be like totally 5 minutes, not more than that. So I'll share it. Just give me a second.
Ready, brothers and sisters, for the next step. Professor Muhammad Al Faisal Shiraj is talking about small or easy quiz for all of us to do. Get ready to join in.
Yeah. So the way this will start is that if you guys have your smartphone, you can just that makes it all feel complicated. Okay, I think can you guys expand the I will expand the QR code. You can use this or the number. Both will work. Even I will try to uh, join this quiz using the game pin 5192493. Everybody's like you can join this quiz.
Brothers and sisters, go ahead and try to join by getting reading this barcode, or you can go to the Kahoot.it website. Eventually, this also will allow you to participate. It's a very, very practical,
Yeah.
hands-on. Go ahead and get involved.
Okay, should I start it?
Yes.
Everybody
Well,
join?
I'm not sure whether everybody is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a very, very appealing, pleasant game. It's an academic game. I'm sure you will love, like the Kahoot. I used to play that when I was a high school teacher. My students used to love it. There we go.
Okay. So this if someone doesn't participate, no worries, but this will be really helpful for people to understand that what is like
It's employees for me. If I were to participate. But go ahead, brothers and sisters, get involved, participate. Going to the Kahoot.it website. If you remember the code that Professor Shiraj just shared with us, it's a way to see how likely it is for you to become involved in the world of robotics. Evaluation of your strengths and weaknesses. It's a self-assessment. But whatever you want to choose, just go ahead and participate. Scoreboard. Marco is doing extremely well. Carlos Castro is involved, but not any point as of yet. It would have been so beautiful to see other attendees get involved. The Kahoot platform is a very, very interesting. It's fun, brothers and sisters, to participate in whatever you do with the Kahoot platform. Thank you for those of you who have gotten involved. This is Atlantic International University, a pioneer in the distance education business. You have 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 6, 5, 4. That's awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Castro. Thank you, Faisal. The ability to learn a particular kind of job. 15 seconds. 12, 10 now. I love this game. Kahoot IT. Kahoot.it. The process of running a business of one's own. What is that? Remember the pin of the game, which is 519 to 493. It's still time for you, brothers and sisters, to participate. Kahoot.it, process of running a business. What's the scoreboard right now? Nobody tells an entrepreneur what to do is what of an entrepreneur, an entrepreneurship. What is that? 10 seconds. 8, 6, 5, 2 seconds, and there we go. That's an advantage of entrepreneurship. How quickly you will pay off your debts. 18 seconds. The pin of the game, 5192493. Kahoot.it. 6 seconds for this question. How quickly you will pay off your debts? That is a financial goal. Very, very, very good. We will get to you in a minute, Chairman Shaw, if we have some times for questions, but not as of yet. Now it's time to get involved in this Kahoot game. Uncertain of irregular incomes is what of an entrepreneurship, whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage. The answer is a disadvantage. Marco is still leading. Very good, Marco. Wonderful job. Retailing business sell products directly to the people who use them. 13 seconds. Is that true or is that false? Congratulations to those who are involved. And of course, everybody else is welcome. Marco has already 6,428 points. That's good. What type of entrepreneurial business produces the products that they sell? 11 seconds. 10. The pin of the game, 5192493. If you want to participate, brothers and sisters. Kahoot.it if you're using a computer. Faisal takes over with more than 7,000 points. Which entrepreneurial business sells products to people other than the final customer? 15 seconds. Beautiful game, ladies and gentlemen. Try it out even after today's session. 6 seconds so far. Faisal has lost the lead. Let's see what happens after this question. Faisal regained the top with close to 8,000 points. Which entrepreneurial business sell products directly to the people who use or consume them? 16 seconds. This is Atlantic International University, brothers and sisters. 9 seconds. Oh man, that is awesome, Professor Muhammad Al-Faisal Shiraj. The correct answer, that is retailing. Faisal is still on the top, followed by Mako. Congratulations. Thumbs up to everybody who gets closely involved. Which entrepreneurial business sells services rather than products? Is that service, manufacturing, wholesaling, or retailing? 4 seconds. The correct answer is service, and Faisal is still on the top. A clothing store is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business? A clothing store, is that service, retailing, manufacturing, or wholesaling? Beautiful. I love that game, and I commend all of you who are closely involved. 4 seconds for this question. 1 second. The correct answer is retailing. And Faisal keeps claiming the top. An apparel factory is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business? 17 seconds. Is that service? Is that agricultural, manufacturing, or retailing? We have 8 more seconds. Going down. The bell rings very soon. And the correct answer is manufacturing. And Faisal, close to 10,000 points so far, followed by Sylvia, who has made some significant progress. The new question, brothers and sisters, selling lumber, construction materials, is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business. Is that wholesaling, service, retailing, or manufacturing? 6 seconds to go. A very, very, very beautiful activity. I love it. Faisal is still on the top. Man, this is the challenge, brothers and sisters, cherished participants. Faisal is still on the top. A hotel is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business. 9 seconds to go. Make your game, brothers and sisters, going directly into the game, not Faisal, 98 hundreds points. Generate fresh produce is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business. Is that retailing, service, agricultural, or mining and extracting? 7 seconds to go. With this pleasant game brought to us by Professor Shiraj. At the scoreboard, Faisal, 10,521 points. We have 5 more questions. The new one, take resources out of ground, is an example of what kind of entrepreneurial business? Could that be service, agricultural, mining and extracting, or retailing? We have 8 seconds to go for this new question. We have 4 more to go in this beautiful quiz. The correct answer, that is mining and extracting. That's 21 questions out of 35. The new one, studied Standard Oil and controlled almost all of the oil refineries. What is that? Or who is that? Is that Henry Ford or John Rockefeller, Clarence Birdseye, or Love and Beach? The correct answer is John D. Rockefeller. Brothers and sisters, thank you for your lovely participation. Who developed the first automobile? 18 seconds to go. John Rockefeller or Clarence Birdseye or Love and Beach or Henry Ford? Who's that? 6 seconds to go. Let's see, that is Henry Ford, who developed the first automobile? That is question 23 out of 35. The new one. Who developed packaged frozen foods and impacted eating habits? The four options: Henry Ford, Rockefeller, Ann Beach, and Clarence Birdseye. 3 more seconds to go. The correct answer is Rockefeller. Faisal is still at the top, man. This guy has not lost. The top, one reason entrepreneurs go out of business is because they lack business knowledge. Is that true? Is that false? 6 seconds to go. Let's see who's gonna get that. The correct answer is true. And Faisal, congratulations, Sylvia. Sylvia has taken over with 11,935 points. Question 25 out of 35. One reason entrepreneurs go out of business is because they choose the right business. Is that true? Is that false? 8 seconds. Remember, Sylvia is at the top at this time. The correct answer is false. And guess what? Sylvia has kept the top, which is not one of the 7 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. Is that independent or goal-oriented or creative or wealthy, which is not one of the 7 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur? Correct answer is wealthy. That is not one of the 7 characteristics. And Sylvia is still on the top, far away, with more than 12,000 points. As we're getting into question number 27, which is not one of the 7 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur between self-confidence, college-educated, determination, and act quickly, which is not one of the 7 characteristics. The correct answer again gets Sylvia on the top, and then she's moving fast, climbing very quickly with more than 12,000 points. Question number 28. That's fill in the blank. Being your own boss is a blank of entrepreneurship. Advantage or disadvantage? Which one? 5 more seconds. The correct answer is that is an advantage. And Sylvia is climbing with more than 13,000 points. Making all decisions by themselves is a blank of entrepreneurship. Is that a disadvantage or an advantage? 8 more seconds to go. 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is a disadvantage. Marco is moving very fast behind Sylvia. 13,743 points for Sylvia. New question. Blank include how much money you will earn and how quickly you will pay off debts. Blank can be financial goals or non-financial goals. Which one of the two? That is financial goals. And Sylvia at the top, followed by Mako. That is beautiful. I thank you and commend everybody for getting involved with this academically pleasant game. A new question. Blank are for monetary gain and personal satisfaction, financial goals or non-financial goals. That is non-financial goals. And Marco has lost the lead completely. Mr. D, let's go. So say Jules Habal, number 5 on our list of participants. When an entrepreneurial business is successful, an employee will receive large profits. Is that true? Is that false? Another 8 seconds to make a choice, brothers and sisters. Remember, you are with Professor Muhammad Al Faisal Shiraj, who has brought this beautiful game, academically speaking, for our session of this Tuesday. The Small Business Administration can help entrepreneurs set blank goals, financial or non financial. 9 seconds, 8, counting down, 6, 4. The correct answer is financial. Beautiful. And Sylvia is not budging. She is still on the top. Cece Jules Saba is number 5 among the first 5 people on that list of participants in that very, very pleasant game, which can provide information that may be helpful in investigating business opportunities. That is actually all of the options on the list. Faisal, Mr. D. Faisal is number 3, Mr. D number 4, and Sesejus number 5 on the list. Olivia and Faisal on the top. Setting specific financial goals before starting a business allows you to avoid borrowing money. Is that true? Is that false? That's a way, brothers and sisters, in the process of becoming part of robotics in that game brought up by Professor Shiraj. Uh, well, that's the end of the game. The winner is Faisal. No, 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 no. Sylvia. Let me let you talk as I'm just looking at the screen, Professor Shiraj. But at this end, who is the winner? Professor Shiraj, who is the winner? Entrepreneur to be or not to be? Let's see. It looks like we have lost. No, we have not lost Professor
Yeah,
Shiraj.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Hello.
were muted.
Yes, the
Okay.
winner is Sylvia,
Oh,
and great,
Sylvia.
yeah, yeah, great
Yes.
job.
Sylvia is on the top indeed. Marco, Faisal,
And
2 and
Mako
3.
is the second, and
Yes.
also the
Faisal
other
is the
two.
Wow, that's awesome, man. We have
Okay,
run out
so
of time a long time ago, and we've been getting lost with so pleasant game that I didn't realize we were out of time. Go ahead, brother Professor Shiraj, with your conclusion, please.
yeah, so this was not actually meant to be like a quiz session. It was more like educating the
Mhm.
mindset of entrepreneurs
I love
into
it.
all of the students, so that people understand that what actually needs to be there. So I was also part of the game. So I didn't answer a few questions because I knew all the answers. So it would be unfair to be played along. So great
Yes.
job by some people who actually played in this game. But here, the main take was that in the most of the things that was covered in the lecture today, where I talked about making our own business, that actually requires entrepreneurship mindset. And that being said, we also need to know what that mindset looks like. So I gave only one slide in our lecture for that, and in this whole quiz, there was like 35 questions, which mostly talked about some of the things that was taught today, some different things, and also mostly aligned to the message that I want to send, that if we want to have entrepreneurship mindset, we need to be uh, having the qualities that was mentioned in some of the questions. So, so that's how businesses are built. And if we don't have that business mindset, we also can understand that. And in that way, our safest pathway is to become an engineer or a technician still that can like apply to be part of robotics.
All right.
So now
That
I
is
can take some questions. Anybody has any questions? Like I think the chat box is filled with some questions.
actually, we have an issue. I am so sorry, Professor Shiraj, to mention that we have run out of times. You
Yeah,
know,
okay.
it's about 12 minutes over the actually
Yeah, yeah.
allocated time.
So yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Like I thought
No,
that
you
it
don't
would
have
be.
to be sorry. The game was very, very gratifying, pleasant, informative, everything positive in between. I am sure everybody else who did not participate, they did enjoy because it was a very profound, deep learning experience as well.
So some questions are there. So can I just copy paste the question, and these were like given as a private message. So
Oh
what should I
yes,
do in
yes,
this
you
case?
can do that. We're gonna close the
Or can I give
session.
him
Mhm.
my email so that they can email me at this,
Uh-huh. That's a great option, man.
and if
You've
you
been
can email me
outstanding,
at
Professor
this.
Shiraj. That's a great option indeed, brothers and sisters, for those of you who were kind of eager to participate, did not have a chance, but like Professor Faisal Shiraj is proposing right now, you may email your questions to him, and he is kind and great enough to volunteer to answer questions that you will send him by email.
To everyone, also, I'll type the email. Just give me 1 minute. I
Yes,
know already out
yes.
of time, but I
Be
think it will help you
patient,
guys.
brothers and sisters, as Professor Shiraj is sharing with all of you at this time his actual email address
Yeah, this is the
where
personal email,
where
and
you can send your questions and make some comments and who knows, establish some kind of business relationship that eventually will prove very, very beneficial. The email is right now on the chat box. That
yes,
is
on the emails.
smdelfaishal@gmail.com. The portion gmail.com is easy to remember, but if you want, I can quickly read the letters, the first portion of that email for you, if you are attentive enough, brothers and sisters, so that you can take advantage of this offer from Professor Shiraj. I'm giving you some time to grab maybe a pen and a pencil to write down the following letters that precede gmail.com. So those letters are S M D like dog, A apple, L Larry, F Frank, A apple, Y yellow, S shine, H hungry, A apple, L Larry. So that is SM Dal Faishal at gmail.com. If you copied that accurately, correctly, you have at your disposal the email of our super SME subject matter expert today, Professor Muhammad Al Faishal Shibraj. to whom you may write and ask questions. The last word with you again, Professor Shiraj.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it. Like, and will be no you'll be notified for the next part of this series, and will surely be like that will be mostly about how to make your own startup, and a lot of description will be about that. So,
All
and
right.
also I want, yeah,
Mhm.
I also want to know the feedback of the whole class, and then maybe if they're interested in a particular side of robotics, I can also take a class for that.
Brothers and sisters, that was really wonderful. The future is with robotics. That's what we were saying about 50 years ago with just computer technology, and we've seen the wonders we have accomplished with computer technology, pretty much like Professor Shiraj is telling us right now. The robotics is our future. So take full advantage of every single opportunities and offer from that presenter. So email him and get involved. Thank you very much once again, Professor Mohammad Al Faisal Shiraj, on behalf of Atlantic International University. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your time right now, collectively, all together, to say thank you to Professor Shiraj. Let's go,
Thank you,
please.
Professor
Thank
Shimram.
you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Professor Mohammed.
you guys are
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye
Appreciate it.
bye.
Wonderful.
Yes,
It's
you
Thank
guys
you
are
been
very
welcome.
much,
Thank
a
Professor.
good
Thank
night
you.
again.
Thank you,
Thank
Prof,
Be
for
you.
guiding
blessed.
us on the quiz.
Take good care of yourself, brothers and sisters, and be blessed.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Bye
Dr.
Thank
bye.
you
Muhammad.
so much.
Thank you.